Talk about like '93 that year, 60 wins, you know, home court advantage in the East, you know, and then that game to dunk, you know, I mean, just I have to say it is the greatest play in the history, and now run in your mind, like you know, your memories of what was going on in your mind at that time.
No, it was just, you know, a play that needed to be made, obviously, at that particular point in the game. B.J. Armstrong was like playing the play all, you know, all game long, and you know, Roush used to tell me it's certain things you're gonna see within the game that you can use later on in the game. And B.J. Armstrong used to, every time Patrick used to come over, you know, set a pick, and that's our pet play. Is as soon as he seen me cut my eyes, he would jump to my high side to force me baseline, because Chicago liked to trap you on the baseline. That particular play came down, and I cut my eyes early, knowing that Bill Cartwright wasn't down there yet. And he didn't know because he had his back turned. And he jumped to my high side, and I just tuck off. And all I saw was Horace Grant, and I knew I had to go in strong. Horace Grant about 6'8", about 250, 260, and I knew I had to go in strong, and I jumped as hard as I could. Dumped the ball, spent out, and ran back up the court to get back on defense. Because Chicago, after a play like that, they like to catch you by surprise and push the ball and try to get a quick one. And, you know, unfortunately, the good thing they called timeout, and my teammates came up to me and this and that, and congratulated me. And so, and I passed Michael on my way to the interview table, and he said, "Good game," and what have you. But I didn't realize he was even in the picture. You know,
until the poster came out, you know.
Not to the poster, but to the news. I looked at the newspaper and I saw the picture, and I was like, wow. Finally called, because he had me splattered all over his posters, you know, schooling me. And so I got one up on him on that one.
Well, and it's so funny how you saw yourself. You talked about how you saw yourself guarding Michael Jordan even before you got into the NBA. You visualized it, and it happened. And it's something that, not verbatim, I can't really remember the quote verbatim, but Michael said, "I don't know where John came from. I don't even know when he came into the league, but I now know who he is."
That's like, about right.
You know,
what he said.
Yeah.
That's about what he said.
So talk about like how gratifying that was to have Mike have that much respect for you, and the fact that you always got under his skin as well. You know?
Well, you know, like you say, you know, I studied this, you know, Mike when I was in college. You know, I used to tape all his games. He's my favorite player, you know, in college. And so I used to tape all his games when I was on the road, when we was playing. I used to have my wife tape the games and just come back and watch the games and stuff like that. And so I watched him enough times over and over where you get in your mind that you pretty much know everything about what he likes to do. And so, you know, from a visual standpoint, I visualize guarding him and how would I stop him. And so when you start, you know, getting in that mindset, and once I got an opportunity to play against him, the first time when I came off injury reserve was against Chicago, in Chicago. And I thought I was going to be nervous, what have you, and it wasn't the case. You know, it was just more of excitement, getting ready to play somebody who you looked up to, you know, coming up. And so, you know, I was excited about going up and playing against him, and knew, you know, what I needed to do in order to stop him, you know. Not all the time, but sometimes, because he's a hard man to stop, but it was a lot of fun.
And speaking of your wife, you married her very young, like the same day in which you had to play a game for Oklahoma Junior College.
Yeah.
And talk about how the lifestyle changes. Like it did, you know, there were times that it did have an effect on your marriage, and talk about how it went back to your childhood, on how you had those relations with your wife and everything.
Well, you know, that was a good time in my life, good period in my life. Actually, it actually settled me down. And so, and right after that, we had our son. And so, and so actually that was a crucial point in my life that I needed, because I was going a little too fast at that particular time and moving too fast. And you know, when you take on those responsibilities, it's different when you out there and you're doing things for yourself. You can care less. But now you have a wife and you have a son that's about to be born, and your whole life changes, and those responsibilities are put on you, and either you're going to step up and be a man about it, or you're going to keep running. You know, and so it really got me focused, and it even made me even hungrier to do something with this game of basketball. And so I started working even harder and started focusing a little bit more on school than I did before. And so it was just a good time, a good period in my life, and I think back upon that all the time. That sometimes people come in your life for a reason, and God put people in your life for a reason to make you think and make you wise up and see the light. And sometimes people get it, and sometimes people don't get it. And those who don't get it, obviously, they fail at it. But the opportunity for me and her to build a future for together was a great time in my life at that particular time.
Well, and it's beautiful because I remember you said you wanted to be a father. The fact that you never had a dad, you wanted to have that father. It seemed like you wanted to change your legacy like that, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, well, you have to break that cycle. I think we get in a cycle, especially how we grow up. And my friends not having fathers in their lives and what have you. And once you do that, and once you get an opportunity, that cycle had to be broken at some point in time. Or it's just going to keep revolving, and cats going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you get nothing out of it. And so I think we as men have to step up and fulfill that role that God put upon us. And so I just trying to do the right thing and do what I never had, is be a father to my kids.
And the rivalry with you and Reggie Miller, it's so funny. It reminded me. It's so funny when in your book you talk about when you had butted him in '93, and how he didn't throw no elbows again, but also reminded me of that kind of similar to that child when you were in junior high, first day, that said something to you derogatory, and you took care of it. So were you thinking about that when after the situation, after you and Reggie were guarding each other, he wasn't doing it? Were you thinking about that comparison?
No, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about that. That was different. Yeah, it was a different situation. But no. Reggie is a great player, and I got a lot of respect for Reggie and how he competed and stuff like that, but he tends to get it at you. He's the type of player that, he's not going to respect you to a certain point, a certain degree, and you have to, let him know. You're going to respect me one way or the other. And he kept hitting me with bowls all game long, and I was telling the referees about it, and they wasn't doing nothing, because I'm like a no-name player and he's Reggie Miller, and so they keep playing. I'm like, all right. So he hit me with a bow for the last time, where I was running up the court, and Patrick came over. No sooner Patrick seen him hit me with it, he came out, "You cool?" I said, "I'm cool." So I laid it up and ran down the court and got in his face, and just the anger that I had inside of me is like I wanted to just punch him dead in his face, and it just all boiled up to my head, and I just popped him a little bit, let him know. Don't be doing that. And so, but after that, he never ever talked to me again in no kind of way. He was like, nothing. I ain't getting nothing out of him. You know what I mean? So, sometimes you have to, I explained it to him like, you go to the teacher and you tell the teacher that this kid is messing with you, and the teacher, all right, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. At some point in time, you're going to have to handle it. The situation. Exactly. And so I had to handle the situation, which turned out all right because we ended up winning the series, and I got my fine money back. So
it's an easy series too, because you one seed, Knicks were 1 seed, they were the 8 seed. Exactly. So.